Okay, there we go. We'll call this regular city council meeting to order on July 20th, 2026 at 6:07 PM. Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Present.
Mr. Bateman?
Present.
Mr. Becky?
Here.
Mrs. McCollum?
Present.
Mr. Parrott?
Present.
Mr. Downs?
Present.
Mr. Clemens?
Present.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Is there anybody like to speak under public participation? Not yet. Okay, for the record, there is no public participation. The first item up on our agenda this evening is Todd Henry to give us a update for Work Camp for Lincoln. Todd?
Hello. I've been, for several months, I warned you they were coming, and they did. About over 300 teenagers and youth workers from out of state and in state came to Logan County, and they only stayed a short time, a week, but they made a ton of difference. And so I just wanted to show you a couple things. One would be the video, if we could pull that up, Tracy.
Yep, getting that going right now.
New tonight, helping those who need it. That's the mission for Group Mission Trips, who are partnering with a local organization in Illinois. Fox Illinois' Spencer Davis joins us to share how they're helping the community. Spencer?
300 teenagers and volunteers from multiple states can be seen in Lincoln over the next week as they help repair, build, and paint various properties around town for people who may not otherwise have been able to do it. This is the third time the work camp has come to Lincoln, and Todd Henry has helped lead the charge.
My first involvement work camp was like 26 years ago, and I've started leading these trips. And in 2020, I was like, man, I'm going everywhere in the United States. Why can't you bring one to Lincoln? And so 2021, we did our first one. The dream came true. 24, and now 26, our third one. And we couldn't be more thrilled to have these people here.
300 people are in town from as far as Texas, Minnesota, and New Hampshire, the majority of which are teens. They're excited to help out a small community and make new friends in the process.
I just think it's such a good experience, and I love helping others, and it's just so impactful to the community, and it just really means a lot, and I really just love doing it.
And I'm here to be a servant of God to these wonderful people here. I come here every single year with my high school, and I just think it's such an amazing thing that we do.
For some volunteers, coming back to serve Lincoln was a conscious decision.
We intentionally picked Lincoln this year because of the people here, the people that we know there's a need, and we want to fill that need. And so we're really happy to be here and excited for the week.
As for the work being done, the Russell family is receiving a new deck so their children can hang out with their friends in a safe environment.
It means everything. It means the world. I mean, now he can go out the front door and feel safe.
And I appreciate the blessing that we have for what these people are volunteering to do for us.
The Boston family is receiving new handrails and a ramp to their outdoor shed.
Well, it's a tremendous blessing to have people come and help us, especially in something that means a lot to us, to be able to have access to all parts of our home.
Henry expressed thanks to the local organizations and churches who helped sponsor the event and provide lodging. Reporting for Fox Illinois, I'm Spencer Davis.
Thanks, Spencer. New tonight.
If you can hold on the slides, Tracy. No, it was a great week. It was really good. And coming in, honestly, this one was a little different for me. On May 18th, I had to have spine surgery kind of urgently, and so I didn't know if I was going to be up and at 'em doing it and having such a leadership role. I was so kind of trepidatious what was going to go on, but did well. And work camp, I talk about all the good stuff a lot of times, but maybe I should share some of the things that I handled during the week. For example, on the very beginning of the week, we had to rent a Ryder reefer truck, refrigerated truck, to put all our food in and stuff because the freezer out at Open Arms went down. And so we had one of those set, and my son-in-law got it from Springfield and brought it to us. And we neither of us knew how to run the refrigerated part of that, and they didn't instruct that to him when he was in in Springfield. And so we did a little YouTube Googling and did our best, and GFS showed up with the food, and he got in the truck and said, "It looks great. You got it set for 36 degrees. Well, unfortunately, the next morning we found out it was set at negative 22 all night long. And so all our food was frozen like a brick. And luckily, a lot of stuff thaws out, but Sunday morning I was shopping for tomatoes and apples and lettuce and things that were just goners and stuff and that kind of thing. But Monday we got on our hardest ramp work and ramp job across from Ace Hardware, and we were drilling holes. There's some things that teach kids character, but because I've done it, on my work camps, I don't have them doing any of this digging thing. That's just crazy. And so we take those augers and drill those holes. And the very first one we did, we hit a water line and shot out of there. And so luckily we had guys right on it, my green shirt crew, and patched that. And I still got that ramp done in record time. But yeah, there's always iffy things and working with residents and different scratchy things that happen sometimes stuff, but was an awesome week. And I've just got some stats to show you with the slides just to kind of sum up our week. 291 work campers. That's kind of all the red shirts and the youth workers and the teens and some other people that come from out of state to be there a week. That, like I said, they came from 13 different churches in 8 states. As far away as Houston, Texas, and New Hampshire. I don't know which one's farther, but both of them pretty good hauls. And then we had about 40 green shirts that people that probably about a dozen of them you see in the bottom left picture there that were actually had construction experience, and they're with the kids working on the projects. And one of your own was involved in that a couple days. And then there's other things like serving food and being on part of the hospitality and the advertising team and that kind of thing. So those are all local people that were invested for the week as well. Go ahead. And then, so there was 45 crews of kids spread out over 40 homes. This year we hit Lincoln, New Holland, Latham, and Mount Pulaski. And if you tallied up kind of the total number of hours that each of those kids worked during the week, that's 7,980 hours that was free labor given to the community of Lincoln to put in there. So a lot. And I'm kind of proud of the completion rate. We always shoot for 100%, and we nailed that this year and got everything done. Even we had great weather, really. It wasn't that hot Monday through Thursday. Friday it rained on us, and so we had a couple paint jobs that kind of we had to still do the next week and finish that. We got it on and it washed right off, so we counted that as a one-shot deal, but we had to redo it. Yeah, everything cooperated really well. Go ahead. And then one thing that they do that we don't talk enough about, Capsule, which is my nonprofit partner that is a co-sponsor for bringing Work Camp in. All the youth groups are asked to bring community relief items determined by the nonprofit what's best would meet the need immediately for clients and families. And so they said diapers and non-perishable food items, stuff like that. So there was a total of 5,116 of those that were brought to the kids. That's in addition to the work they did. That's everything they came in. They stacked it in big piles in the gymnasium, and that was delivered to Capsule to do as well. So it was a great time. We appreciate your support and financially backing us as well as with the good word. And we did have a couple, I think a couple of you guys joined us on a VIP tour. They got to see some of the sites. On Thursday, we go around and kind of see what the kids are doing. And it was just great. It was a good time. So, the question is always, are you going to do another one? Well, right after you do the last one, it's probably not the best time to ask that question. But there's still the need. And the community has continued to do support financially and volunteer-wise and that kind of thing. So everything's set up for another one probably. So we'll see. But any questions or anything or comments?
Mr. Becky?
How many of the ones that you were able to approve of, those are the 40, because that is reflective of how many students you have come to do it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then how many were kind of that you wanted to do that really couldn't get done, that if you had more campers?
It was harder this year to get people through the application process. And what I mean by that is there are just several different factors. One is I learned over the years that when I travel to different churches and different public places ahead of time to drum up applications and to get people in the system, to help them out, a lot of them would apply. They'd say, I just need my gutters done or something. And that's not really the goal of work camp, to like have kids at 5 different sites 5 days a week. It's more to like do a lot of work at a house and build a relationship with a resident and that kind of thing. So those kind of tend to get tossed out. So there's some of those. There's also those people that every year that are like, well, I needed the help, but I thought other people needed it more than me. And I was like, well, we needed you this year. So, please next time apply and that kind of thing. But yeah, there was, I would say 10 to 15 this year that we just had to kind of prioritize. We do more building in Lincoln than any other work camp in the United States. And that's my fault, because I just know that kids like to do that rather than paint, and I like to build. And there is that need to build those ramps and those porches and those mobility issues. So we raise a little bit more money financially to pay for more materials to do that. So there were several of those projects that we had to cut. I would say 5 to 6 of those that we couldn't. A couple of them, we luckily passed them on to other community resources. We found out through the Marines League and some other places that they're going to get served that way that other clients didn't have and stuff. And there were 4 that I was hoping to finish. It was interesting on this year we had a problem that we haven't had in past years. Normally by Thursday and Friday, I'm calling on the green shirts, my local guys, to get in there and see if we can get finished on time, because we got to push. This year, the average youth worker is not a tradesman. That didn't tend to come together like that. But they brought a lot of youth sponsors that were tradesmen, that were contractors. They had a lot of kids that had 4 or 5 years experience of work camp, and they were done early. Like that work camp over at Ace Hardware was like a 30-foot ramp. They got done in 3 days. And so I was hustling on Thursday to find other things, so we had to pivot a little bit, and we put 6 crews at like Christian Child Care, the new Route 66 Museum, did some painting, some final setup stuff, and we helped out Open Arms, I think 2 other nonprofits to kind of do. But I had 4 or 5 paint jobs that I could have been one-day things, but that Friday kind of nailed us, because then it's like it's going to come right off. And so there are some still in the kitty, but I would have to say that my continuing problem is that, that we've got connections, and I think that Brianne out at Capsule and myself are doing the best we can outside of Lincoln, surrounding Logan townships and communities, to say, give us people, and we just get nothing. And I know there's a need, but we just, so I'm glad that we were in 4 communities and stuff, but obviously Logan County is bigger than that. But that's one of the hardest problems, is to get people recommended to us. And then, even though it's online, you got to do it. I go to people's houses and do it for them and that kind of thing. But that was a harder time this year, just to get people to us, it seemed like.
Mr. Parrott, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just was able to spend a couple of days as a green shirt, and the thing that it obviously wouldn't get done without the students, but a big part of it is as being a construction trades instructor, teaching these red shirts and the green shirts that are helping to instruct the students in how to do the work is just tremendously important. And hats off to Todd here for bringing together a great group of green shirts here in town that offer their time, talent, treasure to help pour into the students and to help the community members as well. And so it was a great to but be part of it and to see that happen. And then, you see that also with what happened with the new museum as well, with the community coming together as well for that. And so thank you to those green shirts pouring in again to the students and to help here from Lincoln. And thank you, Todd.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Well, thank you again. We're glad to be sponsors of this program. It does a lot for Lincoln and surrounding communities, and clearly through what Steve and Tim have offered as well, it's clear that we should continue to do this. I think so. So
All right.
Get rested up, I think.
All right.
Would be the advice.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Todd. See you. Okay. We got Scott's online. Just so you know. Okay. Moving on. Jump into the consent agenda. Item number 6, we'll start with 6A, payment of bills. 6B, approval of minutes, July 6, 2026, regular city council meeting. 6C, request from 2026 Touch a Truck to permit the closing of various city streets on Saturday, September 12th, 2026, from 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. for the 2026 Touch a Truck activities. And 6D, request from Copper and Oak to permit the closing of Decatur Street from North Kickapoo Street to the alley on Wednesday, July 17th, 2026, from 3 p.m. until 12 a.m. for Third Friday Band.
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Parrott made the motion. Alderman Downs second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Becky?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Okay, next item up is 7A, ordinance adopting amendment number 2 to the appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 2025-2026.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman McClellan made the motion. Alderwoman O'Donahue second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Becky?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott? Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Next item is 7B, appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 2026-2027.
Motion to approve. Second.
Alderman Downs made the motion. Alderman Clemmons second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
No.
Mr. Becky?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Okay, next item is 7C, ordinance authorizing the purchase of real estate at 417 North Madison Street.
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Parrott made the motion. Alderwoman O'Donahue second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Becky?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Next item is 7D, ordinance authorizing the purchase of real estate at 501 Pulaski Street.
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Parrott made the motion. Alderman Anderson second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Becky?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Okay, next item up is 9A, City Treasurer's Report for June 2026. Treasurer Gonzo?
Thank you, Mayor. You've all received copies of the report, more or less self-explanatory. I would note, you see that general fund balance, that $3,338,000, not counting the other investments, but including the cash and the certificates of deposit. It's considerably lower than it was a year ago, but it is, a little bit better than it was a month ago, which, we're glad to see. I would point out that, even though that is lower than we would like it to see, there's also, during the month of June and month of May and the month of June, there have been some interdepartmental or inter-fund transfers or loans, most notably to the hotel motel tax fund at total about $195,000. Some of that will be, or all of it should be covered by grants and the other revenue generated from that fund. Some of it has been as of the first of the month. I know we did receive a grant, part of that grant went back to reimburse some of that. I think 30,000 of that went back in and transferred back in to the general fund. And there'll be others as these grants come in, but that's one of the reasons why it's less than it would otherwise be. Also would note their sewer O&M fund, the investments there, those are the CDs, and you see there we had some growth as those matured during the month of June. You see about a $15,000, just under $15,000 increase there. The tax revenue you see there, and I've got attachments for all of these on here, and I've got the pension funds. But if you look at in particular at some of these different revenue streams, in particular municipal sales tax, you see where we are at $1,041,000 for the year. A year ago, and for some of you that are fairly new to this, it's not evident from reading it, but if you take the first 3 months of what we took in 2025, and you add those up, those three numbers, that would be $1,008,000. So we are seeing a little bit of an increase there of about $33,000, which we were projecting somewhat of an increase for the year. Not a huge increase, but we are seeing that increase a little bit. Non-home rule sales tax, I believe, is the next one, and a similar situation there. Year over year, you see we're at 290 plus. A year ago, we were at 279, 813. So we're just over 10,000 up there, which is good to see. Again, it's not huge because the price of everything else that we do goes up as well. Income tax, this you see, that's a lot of that is affected by when people file their returns. We have a modest gain there as well over where we were a year ago. And video gaming tax also, in this case, about a $2,500 gain year over year for those first 4 months of the year. Now here, the motor fuel tax is interesting, and I'd point out, now you see there we're at $115,000 on the base motor fuel tax that existed prior to the annual increases. A year ago, we took in $121,000 from that. For the first 5 months of the year. This year, we're at $115,000, which means, statewide, again, this is based on statewide sales of gasoline. They're selling fewer gallons of gasoline. On the other hand, the additional tax you've got there, you see that's $130,000. A year ago, that was at $119,000 because this has gone up. It goes up every year. In July, I believe this year they put a temporary hold on that. But something else happened this year that you may or may not be aware of. Senate Bill number 2111, which I think was passed in December or January, somewhere in there, 80% of the motor fuel tax revenue is now going to go to public transportation as opposed to improving our roads, which is what this was designed to do to begin with. The increased revenue, 80% of that will go to public transportation, and 85% of that 80% will go to the Chicago region, which is where a lot of the public transportation is. So they're going to get considerably more of it than places like Decatur has a public transportation. So does Springfield. So does Peoria. Bloomington, so there's public transportation needs there as well, but 85% of that 80% is going to go to the Chicago region, which would indicate that we are going to receive less of it. That went into effect. That did go into effect on July 1st, so the totals that you see in this report do not yet reflect that, but they will. So that's just something to keep in mind going forward. I would point out our legislators voted against, both our state senator and our state rep voted against doing that, but there weren't sufficient votes there to prevent it from passing, and it did pass. That's all I have unless there are questions.
Anything for Treasurer Conzo? Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, next is 9B, City Clerk's Report for June 2026. Ms. Bateman?
In the month of June, we received $240,029.86 in sewer receipts, which we did receive from one prison of $19,736.52 in the month of June.
Questions for Ms. Bateman? Okay, thank you. And then 9C, Department Head Reports for June 2026 are either on file or will be shortly. Okay, moving on to item 10A, approval of agreement with Tech Services for grant writing in the amount of $9,500 plus incidentals.
Motion to approve?
Is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Downs made the motion, Alderwoman McClellan second. Okay, I'll open it for discussion. So as we learned last week, it was $9,500 for one, but they're gonna do 2 grants for us. And so I did get a email from Mr. Sutton after council last week, and the amount would be for both grants, $17,000. And I'll read to you what he sent to me, and then we can make a decision how we want to move forward. I asked him if we need to split these up or not. He said, I would recommend that the council go ahead with the approval of the 2 projects together on Tuesday, and we would complete both applications and then decide when to submit them, either together or staggered. This would allow tech services to have the same team develop both applications and provide the savings on the cost. If we do the project separately, we wouldn't be able to pass along the savings. However, if you would rather, we will provide separate engagement letters. Just let me know what you would like to do. So that is the recommendation of Mr. Sutton and a grant writing team. So if you're in favor, $17,000 even was the amount plus incidentals,
So $2,000 savings.
essentially. Yep. So, Mr. Becky?
And so he did mention the competition between the 2 grants. If we did get this, save the first one is the green space one.
Yep.
We missed that one. And I guess thinking about it from last week is like, I wonder they always say, everyone up there was saying, well, this is new, it's never news, there's no probability of assurance of us getting it or not, or the competition, how many others are involved with the competition, but is there anything to go on as far as a probability of one over the other? I mean, they were pushing for just one, and just focusing on that one instead of going for both. Is there any discussion about that?
I have received nothing from any of the contacts about how many they anticipate, how fast it will go, anything of that nature. So ideally, the faster we move, the better, the more competitive we are. Mr. Bateman and then Mr. Hoblet.
So if we make a motion to raise this to $17,000, you did say he's not going to, they're going to work on both grants at the same time, but they would submit them differently so that it doesn't look like we're trying to stick both arms in the cookie jar.
Correct. That sounded like that was their recommendation. And if I was reading the room right, the council somewhat agreed with that approach to ensure that we had more success with at least the first one, and then we could come behind and apply for the second one because it's a rolling grant.
Then I would make the motion to amend this to $17,000.
Okay. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Bateman made a motion to amend to $17,000. Mr. Downs, second. Mr. Hoblet had his hand up, and then Ms. McClellan.
So, I presume that you can only avail yourself, of if you're granted one grant, you can only take one grant, right? You can't get both grants. You only get the one, right?
There's no rule that says you can't get 2, but the advice we were given leads people to believe that it looks somewhat greedy if we're trying to get a bunch of money at once when other people are being competitive. So our chances would be greater if we went with the demolition grant first and then come behind with the streetscape.
So is the idea then that they would submit the first one, and then would they wait to see as to whether or not we got it before submitting the second one? And with the idea being that the work that they're going to front load it and do the work on both the grants at the exact same time. With the idea being that if we were granted the first grant and can't really avail ourselves of the second one, but that work's already been expended at that point, and therefore there wouldn't be any further savings on behalf of the city.
Yeah, I think the idea is while they're in the paperwork and the team is together, do both at the same time to be consistent, but then they will lean on their expertise, their connections with DCEO and other state agencies to make a determination when to move forward in that staggered approach. That's the way I read it, and that's kind of how the conversation went. Ms. McClellan?
So if we don't get the first one, there's no purpose for the second one, correct?
No, we can still do the second one. The second one is when we talk about streetscape, we're talking, a great example is the sidewalks in front of the arcade, Spirited, all of those new sidewalks, that's part of the streetscape.
Okay, so they're not connected in any way.
No, they just happen to kind of overlap because the Oasis building is in that block, but we're primarily talking about coming down on the Kickapoo Street in front of Guest House, the Bee, and others in Small Town. And then, depending on how much money we get, we could perhaps come around onto Broadway Street. It just depends on how much we receive in grant funding. But that's the intent. Mr. Parrott?
So is this the same grant funding source for both of these grants?
One is a community development block grant, and the other one is, I don't have the name of it in front of me. It's more about blighted conditions. I can get the name of the grant to you. They're actually, if you go look at the NOFOs, they're two separate grants.
Well, then I don't see there's any issue of submitting both of them at the same time. And
yeah,
for $250,000 versus how much would we ask for the other one?
I think didn't they say upwards of $1 million?
Yeah,
for that one.
I was thinking. So I'd rather have $1 million than $250,000. For the, I know this building has to come down at some point. I guess it depends. Would there be another round for the $250,000 grant?
Well, the $250,000, if you remember, they said this is the first time they've done that demolition. So there's nothing saying whether they would do that again. But the streetscape, the CDBG, they do that. They've done that for years on end. So I can find out for you, Steve. Those two grants.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they only do if this is the first time for the demolition grant for the 250, and there might not be another opportunity, that's probably why we're going with that one first.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I received a email from Mr. Doolin after our meeting last week, and he'd like to sit down and have a conversation about whether we could find private investors to, rather than demo the building, do a restoration. He obviously understands that, there's a lot of challenges and hurdles in that. But if we approve the grant and we move forward and we have it all ready to go, if that falls through or doesn't come to fruition, we're not behind. We don't miss out on that funding opportunity. So there's still an opportunity there to do something different with that property. It just still looks like the most logical choice would be going the demolition route. But if we can save it, we'll put the effort in and do it. Yeah. Yep, I agree.
What people are telling me when it comes up as conversation is it's not like the other buildings down on Sangamon and stuff that are falling down, bricks falling up. This building still looks good. It just doesn't have a roof or interior. So that's why a lot of the public sentiment is, boy, it'd be nice if we could put a roof on it, or people would like to see the temporary roof that's there, make that a permanent roof so you can have outdoor seating upstairs like some larger communities have, or just all kinds of ideas. But the problem is, if you're not looking at the windows and stuff, it's not a blighted building. That's why the public is like, man, I know it's more expensive, but it sure be nice if you could find somebody to invest in it and put a roof on it and save it.
Can we reach out to Mr. Houston?
Yeah. I think he's still trying to close on his. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So on the floor, there is a motion to amend, and it is to amend the amount from $9,500 plus incidentals to $17,000 plus incidentals. Any other discussion on that? Okay. If there's no other discussion, roll call on the amendment, please.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Becky?
Yes.
Mrs. McClellan?
No.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Okay, so now is there any other discussion regarding this grant writing agenda item? Item number 10A. If not, I'll call roll call on the item as amended. Hold on, Peggy. Mr. Becky.
Did we finalize a decision on the additional expenses, limiting that to a certain amount, or are we just going to do the not to exceed amount total for the grant writing? Because he said it, he said 500 hotel, food, whatever. Is there a type of?
There was no, the agenda item does not include a not to exceed amount. If the council would like to do an additional amendment and put that stipulation in place, we can do that. It's $50 for meals, not to exceed $50 for meals, and $200 for overnight stays per consultant.
So could we turn it down if it's not within normal guidelines? Do we have any type of stipend guidelines to say, okay, $500 a night for a hotel is too much, we're not paying that, or $1,000 for 2 days of food and hotel is too much, or?
Well, it would be.
Have to have some ordinance for that, or some type of addition to that, or?
I wouldn't want them to bring 20 people in at $200 a night.
There's got to be some limit them to what it's logical.
It's $50 per, it says, travel expenses include mileage and per diem of not to exceed $50 for meals and $200 for overnight stays per consultant.
Oh, no, per consultant.
So you could put a $500 per day limit, not to exceed $2,000. Or, I don't really see them coming to town more than 3 or 4 times on this, because a lot of what we've done, actually all of what we've done, well, we did have one meeting in my office, has been via Zoom.
Oh, so I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood. So that travel time is just to come here, just not to go wherever the grant, federal in Chicago or wherever.
The way I'm reading it.
You're reading it as I'm coming here?
Yes. They're kind of scattered all over, but some of them are around Springfield. Here, I'll read it to you. Client will reimburse reasonable pre-approved expenses. Travel expenses include mileage and per diem of not to exceed $50 for meals and $200 for overnight stays per consultant. So if you put a cap of no more than $500 per night, they could get 2 consultants. Anything above that, they'd have to make a decision on whether they want to travel or do it virtually, right? And then if you put an overall cap for the grant writing at 2,000, 4 visits. I think 4, it won't take 4, but that's just me. Ms. McClellan?
I would be more comfortable if we had a number in there to
Amend
just say,
that?
to have a top on that.
What would you recommend?
What did you just say? What did you say, 13,000 then?
My thought was not to exceed $500 per night, no more than $2,000 for all of the grant writing.
Yeah.
I'll make another amendment on the incidentals, not to exceed $2,000.
Total for both?
Do you not care how much they do per day? They could come in, they could bring 4 or 5 people in.
Bring 5 people in one day or something,
Yeah.
Or, $2,000 cap.
Okay.
However
I
they-
think
however they
it's
see fit
easier
to
that way.
Yeah, however they see fit to spend it.
Okay. So Mr. Bateman has made a motion to put a not to exceed amount of $2,000 for incidentals.
I'll second.
Mr. Anderson has seconded the amendment. Any other discussion? Mr. Parrott?
So mileage. So if they have 3 people coming down in different directions, or 3 or 4 people come in different directions from the Chicagoland area, it's going to be round trip. If it's just one trip, it's going to be almost $200 just in fuel plus.
Yeah, because
plus food plus hotel.
Tech Services is in Naperville, according to this letterhead.
Yeah, hopefully they would try to carpool if they're bringing multiple people, but I don't know if 2,000 is going to be enough.
They're the ones that put in $50. How much per day?
$50 per diem for meals, $200 for overnight stays per
They're
consultant.
the ones that put in $50 for per diem. So it's $50. They're getting paid $50 whether they come from Naperville or Springfield.
That's just for dinner.
We can always bring this
Is that
back
included
for,
mileage?
No.
That's what I was going to ask. We can always
No.
revise that, right? I mean, it's not written in stone to like, okay, this is it. You can't get any more than that. We can always revise that later, correct?
if we see that that's not going to cover it, we can bring an item back to the council on the agenda specific to these incidental charges. And then the council can make a decision. This amendment that's been requested will at least get the process moving.
2,000 will probably do it one trip for 4 people.
Yeah. Okay. So there's an amendment on the floor for not to exceed 2,000 for incidentals. Any other discussion? Okay. Roll call on the amendment, please.
Who seconded that?
Mr. Anderson did. Mr. Bateman made the motion. Mr. Anderson second.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Becky?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion or proposed amendments? Okay, if there are none, then roll call on item 10A as amended, please.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Becky?
Yes.
Okay. Next up is item 10B, approval of the installation of playground equipment at the 8th Street Park at a cost not to exceed $10,000. This item was tabled on July 6th, 2026. Any other updates on this one? Or does it remain on the table?
It remains on the table. We have gotten no updates from Mrs. Metelko. And quite honestly, the backstory was Mrs. Bateman and I turned in a piece of equipment, told her where it was sitting at, and the piece of equipment came forward is not the one that we originally envisioned because ours was for much younger kids. This one that is to be voted on is obviously for older children. So I would vote no if we're going to stick with this particular piece of equipment because I envision 3, 4, and 5-year-olds playing with it and looking at that other piece of equipment, knowing my grandson could not hang on to that arms overhead to do it. So
Okay, so before I move on, feedback? Mr. Parrott?
Did we get approval from Woods?
It sounds like there's not going to be concerns on us receiving the grant, even if we do go with the higher amount. But I can confirm with Ms. Matoko tomorrow, then we can bring it back at the COW, have a discussion with more detail, and I can ask her to attend that meeting. And then by the next voting meeting, perhaps we can remove this from the table.
we would be just voting on increasing the $10,000. We would be paying the difference between the second piece of equipment that we'd like to have versus the first one. And
Yeah.
there is a difference. Wasn't it like $6,000 or $7,000?
I think it's somewhere around there, 7.
So this is
So
also
Donahue.
going to sit on the property that the hospital is doing their big project onto. That they have all kinds of engineering firm involved. So I guess my question is, what is the purpose of hurrying through with this? If the hospital is doing this big project, why are we rushing, putting in something that may not
Well,
be part of that vision also?
Molly was at the hospital. Ms. McCain was aware that we had already been talking about this. She still wants to move forward with the plan, the master plan that she's talked about. And what drove this discussion, we've actually been talking about it for a few months. What drove it was the fact that we have a grant that they're giving us. Instead of sitting on it, we decided to move forward because we had to have a project to present to them.
But we're also still going to have to be putting out money
Correct.
with this hospital project.
The master
So
plan, we're not paying for, they are.
we're not going to be responsible for any kind of money with this master plan.
Correct.
We're meeting with them on Thursday. So I agree, let's leave this tabled and we'll bring up this piece of equipment in the discussion with their master plan and see if it works out with them.
Nope.
It was
But
just the
what
fact-
piece of equipment? The
We-
one that Ashley's already worked on, or whatever it is that you and Peggy came up with?
Well,
forget it.
basically, it's the exact same piece of equipment, only it's made for smaller kids.
So-
It's a seat instead of a,
I know what it is. I've looked at it. I've seen it. I'm
So,
just
our meeting
questioning
Thursday
why
is,
we're spending more money.
we're,
Don't
right now, all we're talking about
Is it spending more money?
is tabling it until we find out after the meeting with the master plan. That's what I'm asking, is to table it.
It's already
so we can
tabled.
have more discussion.
yeah. At this point, it's tabled. Unless you pull it off the table and take action, it remains on the table. Okay. So our meeting is Thursday, the 23rd at 4:15 with Farnsworth and the Parks Committee and Miss McCain. We'll have more answers after that meeting. And then I'll also have Ashley get a proposal, Miss Metelko, together to bring forward as well so that the council can have an informed discussion at the next meeting. And can we put that on the agenda as an item? A discussion about, the cow agenda?
Quite honestly,
And I
in our
can
meeting
bring it up
Thursday
tomorrow.
night, we could see if whatever equipment the hospital's gonna install, if we can include our piece of equipment in the installation instead of having two different companies come in and work on it.
My understanding is that the hospital is not installing any equipment. They are simply putting a plan together. They're paying for the engineer to look at that site and put a master plan together for the future direction of that property. Now, they have proposed other projects, and those projects may or may not be part of that plan, but that would be a separate decision for funding of any projects they chose to do.
They're going to, aren't they? They're going to repaint what's currently there on the equipment workout facility, right?
There's a new wrap.
A new
Actually, it's
wrap.
going on, Walt, it's going on this week, correct? The wrap for the fitness?
Yes, they were working on it last week, actually.
Okay.
I don't know if it's complete or not, but they were working on it.
So it was a wrap, and then they were replacing some broken equipment or pieces at that fitness court. Yeah. Ms. McClellan?
As far as I remember, and this is just what I'm trying to remember, they did not commit to buying any equipment. They said they would partner with us look at it, and then they'd partner with us, but
Correct.
they did not commit to buying any equipment at this point.
Correct. I think in the discussions that I've had with Molly, the way I read it is this: the hospital has a vested interest in that property, right? It used to be theirs. They would like it to be put together for the community and serve a purpose. And that's why they came to us with the master plan idea. We didn't pursue that with them. And they said, we would like to bring in an engineer and have that discussion. There have also been some other projects that they've presented and had some very loose discussions about whether they would be interested in funding them. My take is, rather than dive into something that's expensive, because some of those projects have been discussed like a splash pad. They want to have a plan with engineers before they move forward on anything else. Plus, if we go out for grants to pay for that, we need that engineering done too. So, serves both parties. Yeah, it is. Okay. So, Mr. Conzo?
Yeah, just going back to what we were talking about earlier, I know that Ms. Metelko did follow up and did have conversation with the Woods Foundation about that. I really can't address exactly what the results of that was, but I know that she did follow up and did do what was requested for her to do regarding completion of this project.
My understanding is that she had spoke with Mr. Bates, and he believed that the foundation board would be favorable to still work with us on the grant. She's just going to have to provide some details. So, okay. Anything else on this item? Okay, it'll remain tabled then. All right, that brings us down to announcements. I guess, Ms. Bateman, did you want to give an update on Third Fridays? Since
It's over.
And it was hot.
It was hot. Everybody had a good time, this last one. It was very hot. We had a new one with the foam. I think went over really well. the bouncy house company that I deal with out of Peoria. It's the gentleman that brings the bouncy houses. He's just a worker. He had bought in that foam truck, and he reached out to me and said, you know, I'm here every month. How about this? I thought it was something good and something new, and the kids liked it. Yeah. And Savannah had to keep moving her table because she kept getting foam balls to her.
Good outreach. Okay.
Yeah, the volunteers I would recommend wearing sandals or flip flops or something while you're volunteering over there for that next year.
Jeff was wetter than the kids that was in going down the slide.
Yeah, they actually went home and changed and then came back. They were soaked. So, and on that note, thank you to all the volunteers. I know some of you guys volunteered as well through not just this past event, but in other events. And I know it gets old hearing us talk about volunteers and help. It's a reality, though. It takes people to make these things happen, and I'm thankful. I know the committee is for your help in helping make it happen. So, couldn't do it without you. And the people loved it. So, okay. The only other thing I got is that now we're getting ready to go into the, oddly enough, fall. We're not going to start talking about. Well, we did actually talk about Trick or Treat with the mayor today, so there you go. But next up will be movie night in the park. We're going to have to play that one by ear, obviously, because the pavilion's being developed. There's some electrical conversations to be had, and so we're still shooting for September, October. Traditionally, September works out pretty well. October gets a little frigid, so we might do it earlier in October and see how that works out, but we have some other things to work around. And then this year, the Park District had already purchased the the viewing rights for Space Jam, the movie. And so they asked if we would partner on this one and we could play that for September. So likely that's the movie that'll be played for September, and then we'll figure out October's, because the Park District's been great partners with us in that effort and helped us grow it. Okay, that's all I got. Who else? Mr. Bateman?
So on the subject of festivals and events, and specifically street closures, this past Friday, I volunteered to close the intersection at Pulaski and Kickapoo at 2:00 to help this band set up. Because it was a pretty good sized band. They had a lot of equipment, very popular. A lot of people came down. But for me, and I know I'm speaking for Mrs. Bateman also, we've been closing streets for over a decade and for numerous events. And I was pretty angry at the citizens of Lincoln this last weekend because I took the time, closed the streets, left a little gap for cars that were stuck inside that area to get out, but still close the streets. Well, our own citizens, and quite honestly, I knew some of them, drive around the barricades. They don't care. A lot of choice words that I usually use, but they were used against me this time, but that's fine. But we're talking business owners. There was a tree service that drove around the barricade in a big truck, got his initials right on the side of the door, not very polite. I know darn good and well he puts up barricades when he's working at places, and how would he feel if people drive around the barricades? I was trying to move a cart with some speakers on it and was nearly hit by a Jeep driven by a young woman who just drove right around the barricade. I don't know what it takes for the citizens of this town to realize that, quite honestly, the number of doers, the people who actually volunteer and show up without asking and do the event year after year, time in and time out, is under a dozen. And it's getting to the point where I can speak for myself. I'm getting tired of it. I'm going to get hit. or somebody else is going to get hit or hurt. Simply the fact of just driving around a barricade because you think it's too damn important to block a street for an event, and you look at me as I'm standing there and you go, well, I'm just trying to get to that place. Too bad. If it comes down, and the mayor and I had a long conversation that Friday night, if it comes down to where we just need to cancel Third Fridays and cancel other events for the safety of the people who show up constantly, who are now getting in their late 50s, 60s, trying to do this stuff, it's just not fun anymore. So the citizens of this town need to decide whether they want to have these kind of events or they just want to go by the wayside. Because they're eventually going to go by the wayside anyway, because there's nobody younger stepping up to help with these events. It's the same volunteers every week, all the time, doing the same thing. It's just a little ridiculous, and I'm still peeved about it because it wasn't 2 cars, it wasn't 6 cars. The gentleman that I was helping, his wife counted 22. 22 cars drove around the barricades and drove through that intersection that we were trying to work at. That's just unacceptable. And one of them was a business owner who just blurted out a bunch of filthy words and said, too bad, I got to get to where I'm going. I'm not even going to call him out. I kept saying I was going to call him out. It's a tree service. Got his initials on the door. So this city needs to decide what they want to do.
Mr. Becky.
And I have experience with that same thing, and it's in regards to Lincoln Christian Church when they have their Christmas thing. We do one road, and I luckily get the barricade people to set up, to stand there with flashlights, with vests, with the city barricades. But I think instead of leaving it up to the city of Lincoln or the citizens of Lincoln, I think we need to do something maybe more officially with protection with police or somehow some organizing that has more authority, because he's right, it is dangerous. They do it. I mean, and this is at night when we have our event, and they see people, they're standing right there, and yet they still try to go around. So I think to be more proactive on that, I think we might consider something more authoritative to monitor that. Just something to think about in that time. And that way we're not waiting for somebody to respond. We're taking the initiative. And if they have to be directed like children to tell them not to come through here, then that's just what has to be done. But I experience the same thing.
I mean, I've been out on those streets with Kevin and Peggy, but they do the majority of the road closures, admittedly. The challenge with that event is that you're trying to close roads, vendors are trying to get in, cars that have been parked down there for businesses are trying to get out. And so, I mean, in our mind, we're trying to get people out, right? We know who the people are that are coming in because we stop them. We ask them. And if they're not supposed to be in there, we redirect them. But to Kevin's point, when we turn our backs, people will get out. If they can squeeze through the gap, they'll do it. Or they'll get out. I've seen them actually get out and move a barricade to go around it. Yeah. And they don't move it back, and then everybody else follows through because they're like, oh, they went through. So, Deputy Chief Comstock is over there. I know what's going through his mind is, we have police officers that come down and help with off duty. Perhaps next year we can talk about maybe the first one of the season, getting a little bit more presence down there to set an example. I mean, I don't want anybody getting a ticket or anybody in trouble, but we have not just volunteers. We have vendors moving in there, children, people on bikes, elderly people. People driving cars is just reckless and careless, and somebody will eventually get hurt. So I think we can work with the police department on that. Deputy Chief, anything to add to this topic?
Mrs. Bateman didn't want to trade in the 5 squad cars as we're getting new, and we got 5 streets to close. We just take an old squad car, park it right in the intersection, red and blue's on. But I can tell you, there will be idiots that will drive around the squad car. They're that stupid.
Well,
I don't think we need a degrading of
Yeah.
people calling out here. So.
Yeah, I mean, a few ruin it for the many. is essentially the message. And we can address the few and have conversations with them. And I know that I've talked with Chief Meister before where he's, even in parades, where roads are closed off for parades, and we've seen people go through, and they wrote tickets for them. And those tickets were a little hefty. So you get one or two of them, and maybe that'll change their mind, because I agree with Mr. Bateman. You know, we're trying to get down here for the event, and by the time I get off work and come down, all the roads are closed. I have to go around the whole thing to find a place to park, so everybody else can figure it out too. It's not that hard. Takes a couple extra minutes. Chief, did you want to say anything, or are you good? Okay. Man, a few words. We'll talk about it next year. Okay, does anybody else have an announcement? Walt, anything on Fifth Street or any projects going on? You want to share?
They got the road widening done west of Conley Road, and they actually put asphalt down on those shoulders today. And the rest of the week they'll be working on milling and paving that west half.
Okay.
Progress. They're making good progress.
Okay.
Still have some utilities in the way for the storm sewer, so we're still trying to get some relocation stuff done.
And then another one I forgot about, an announcement. The Eagles is having their annual barbecue fundraiser this Friday and Saturday. And it goes from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. They would like to extend free delivery or pickup to the city departments. If you're busy and you can't get away, give them a call. They'll come out. So police, fire, street and alleys, city hall. If you're interested in that, I'll send the flyer out to everybody I got, and they'd love you to take advantage of that. So good partners. Okay, anything else? Mr. Clemens.
Does anybody know where we are at with the sewer at Open Arms?
Yes.
I've
You
had
want the
calls.
follow-up?
Yeah, I've had calls, but I don't know what to tell them.
Okay. So and John, step in at any moment if you'd like. But essentially what has happened was Open Arms has a legal representation. They have legal representation that represents them in many facets of their business, their operation. In this particular case, given the steps that have happened, their legal representation represented the city of Lincoln in the past. Therefore, they felt they had a legal conflict. So that left Open Arms in a situation where they had to seek other legal counsel, which they have. Mr. Hoblet has had conversations with them. They are working through the details of some of the concerns. Naturally, when somebody new picks up the ball, they're going to have questions that they want answered if they feel they're doing their job. That's where we're at right now. They are having that conversation. And John, do you want to elaborate on
Without giving
how you feel?
too much detail in that regard, there is new legal representation for Open Arms. We've been dealing with this issue for quite some time, so obviously there has been like a historical context that probably was not accurately conveyed through various conversations I've had over the period of time with this council. It appears that we have worked through that, and I'm just waiting for drafts to be exchanged and approvals ultimately reinforced. We had an additional request that came through that was not discussed previously when the new council came on. That was a bit surprising, so we had to sort that issue out. And I believe, as I understand it, I believe there's an understanding in that regard. It's just at this point, getting the final agreements and submitting that on the paper.
Mr. Bateman.
Tomorrow night, big races out the racetrack. This is the one that got rained out previously. I know Carson Horsevore and some other NASCAR names I'm pretty sure they fly into the airport, drive, and leave. So this is late models and modifieds only. So I think I already saw a bunch of big trailers out there now, and this will be the one that will be on Flow Racing Network. So if you have access to that, or look it up later if you don't make it out the track. But tomorrow night's the big Lincoln event that they have every year.
What time does it start at?
Gates open probably 3 or 4 o'clock. Hot laps will be at 6. Races starts at 7. They'll probably be done by 10 because these are really good drivers. So it will be loud. I'm just telling you, it'll be louder than Friday night was. So, but it'll be a lot of money out there tomorrow night. It's $20,000 to win.
Wow. Okay, one more I thought of too. We haven't talked a lot about Balloons Over 66. That is an event that the city sponsors.
Close streets on?
Well, you will be closing streets on that, yes. So don't hit Kevin. But pay attention to the part, we're like 40-something days out from the event. It's still going to operate in much the same manner that it has. The committee, the overall committee, not just balloons, but barbecue, the Oasis, the Park District, they all meet this week and have a conversation about that. And so you can go to the Facebook page. We're putting out all the information on there. There's a website, balloonsover66.com. If you go there, one of the things that I wanted to do last year to help out was put in a virtual assistant, because during the event, people are asking tons of questions, and the people that are moderating that balloons page simply can't keep up with all the questions. So we were able to develop this knowledge base that answers most of the general questions. So go out there, give it a try to break it, see what you can come up with. If there's things that it doesn't answer, let us know. We want it to improve for the people that are coming to town and visiting. But they will be asking for crew members, as always. That committee will. And if you've ever been interested in doing it, that'd be a good time to do it. There's going to be a form that goes out where you can sign up for crewing if you'd like. I know that barbecue has needs and other people do too. So, but Kevin can speak to that piece.
I just want to remind everybody, for the last few years, we tried to stagger street closures to help out in town. But the last 2 years, last year in particular, we ended up using up way too much police usage of running license plates, trying to get cars moved, towed. So this year, all the streets are going to close at 5 a.m. The reason I do that is I can usually put the notices on the cars where people live downtown. They've been great at moving them that day, and the downtown square is empty. And hopefully I don't have that many that drive around the barricades. But please understand, this is a big event. It takes us, Tracy's been very committed this year, along with my wife and others. But it's a big event, and a lot of the vehicles coming in are trucks and trailers. They're not just cars parking and unloading. So that's part of the reason also of, and we don't allow generators. So we got to run a lot of electrical wire up and down Kickapoo Street and Pulaski Street and McLean for dock dogs and those kind of things. So just please be patient. It will be a great weekend. I got Lick Creek coming Friday night at 8 o'clock. I got Captain Geesh coming back by popular demand on Saturday night. There'll be 17 food trucks. There'll be several vendors over by Dock Dogs. They got the craft fair, the art fair, and also this year they've added the Rail Splitter Festival will be going on the same weekend out at Postville Courthouse. So there'll be a lot of stuff to do on August 28th and 29th. Please be patient. It's just, by noon Sunday, we'll either be dead or it will all be cleaned up and you won't even know anything happened there. So, again, just trying to get cars moved and having to constantly call the police to run plates just didn't work out the last 2 or 3 years. So
And the softball tournament.
Oh, yeah, 30. I think Mr. Frobe said there's 36 teams or something like that, softball and baseball coming in. So that's all the ball diamonds in Logan County will be used also. Same weekend. So we're putting all the eggs in one big basket. So plus Mr. Welch is the balloon person this year. I don't know how many balloons you got signed up, but that will be at Open Arms.
Well, I'm just a member of a board. There's an official board this year, but there's almost 20 balloons this year that have confirmed.
We meet again Thursday night to try to work out, nail down where all 40 porta potties are going.
Yeah. Well, and also worth mentioning, I know Mr. McCoy's on the call, but tourism has stepped up in the past. I know that the Bureau has helped out in some respects. This year, city tourism is going to help out with marketing and safety, because those are two of the big components of that whole weekend. So working out the details on that stuff, but a lot of involvement from everybody. Again,
If you see streets that are empty at the first, please be patient. Everything sets up in a line. Come Saturday at 10 o'clock, all the streets will be full of everything. But I got Mr. Brady's bringing multiple bouncy houses, all free of charge, so the kids don't have to spend a dime. Also free of charge, paid for by the Up and Smoke Committee, is Holly from the farm bringing 2 face painters in, and then there's a person that does balloon animals and headgear and stuff. All of that's free of charge for the kids. Up and Smoke's picking up the tab for all of that, plus the dock dogs and everything else. So hopefully good weather, and we have a great event.
okay. All right. Mr. Becky.
Real quick. It was really cool seeing the big boy steam engine come through Lincoln, and it actually stopped again. It actually stopped right outside Lincoln for a long, long time. I mean, there was hundreds of people. It was pretty cool, and it was short. It was kind of like anticlimactic.
Yeah.
2 hours, it gets there, and a minute and a half later it's gone. And you're like, oh, okay. But people were following it, and it was fun. It was seeing a lot of people, in that historic train.
Yeah, a lot of videos and photos that morning. So if you weren't able to make it, you can relive the experience. So, okay, anything else? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to
Motion
adjourn.
adjourned.
Second.
Alderman Anderson made the motion. Alderman Parrott second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. This meeting is adjourned at 7:19 p.m.